This is Jason Verney's podcast. I am Jason Verney. This is a podcast in the park themed episode. It's actually something I'll probably do on a regular basis, but this is one in particular about the film KEDI. I've just seen the film at the lovely, my beloved Tricycle Cinema. I'm in the park in Kilburn where the Tricycle is. It's Kilburn Grange Park, and I wanted to see this film about a cat. I'm probably not the world's best cat lover, although in the last year or two I've kind of realised I've got so many I've got so many friends, a couple of family members, all of them got associations with cats, Facebook friends, and and maybe in the couple of years or 3 years while I've experimented with vegetarianism, you have a different fondness for animals in general and respect. I'm in Kilburn Park. Yeah, you could probably call this episode KEDI to Kilburn or KEDI in Kilburn if you want to use all the K's. Talking of K's, there's a K in the word basketball, and I'm right next to the basketball sort of court or courts in this park. There's a lot of people here. It's actually a lovely evening. It's not as warm as it was earlier, but it's still nice. This park's really full. I don't come here enough, to be honest. There's people exercising, there's people chatting, there's people walking babies and whatever. But yeah, I wanted to see this film. I saw it just now, as I say, in the Tricycle. It's a Monday, and they do this Brent Residence special deal, very, very cut price tickets for people that live in Brent. I can prove they live in Brent, I suppose. This is the best way of saying that. So yeah, the film itself is brilliant. I mean, I didn't want to read too much about it. I knew it was about a cat. Well, I actually thought it was about a cat. It's actually about mini cats, and I kind of did get that feeling after I'd seen a bit of the trailer. And also, KEDI is not... It means cat as opposed to KEDI. I thought originally it was the name of one of the cats or the main cat or something, but I did wonder that if it had so many cats in it, how could it specifically be about one cat or, called KEDI? It's a great film. I mean, it's set in Istanbul in Turkey, and it says at the beginning that it says something along the lines that the cat is the it's kind of like the soul of the city. The cats are everywhere, and these are probably stray cats, but they're probably not seen as stray cats. And to be fair and to be honest, I don't see stray cats as being they get a bad name in cities when we go on. In the UK, when we go on holiday to other countries, whether it's Thailand or whether it's at Europe or somewhere else in Asia or somewhere in Africa or whatever, where you see cats, they're strays, or they're dogs, they're strays. But strays is actually how animals are and were before pets, before animals were so much owned as they are. And this film shows so many cats with so many different personalities, also the people that they frequent, often for food, but also for love. The love is often returned by the cats. There's some amusing scenes. It's very well shot. It's it shows the cats' personalities, as I said, and there's some amusing bits, and it's great to see a glimpse into that life. We're living in London, we don't have that many stray cats, or we don't see that many compared to other cities in the world. And the characters, the human characters in this film are really charming, and really sort of, you can see how they bond with these cats. The cats just seem to be everywhere, and it's a really good film. The music is used really well. It's kind of used as sort of, I suppose it's Turkish, much of it is Turkish music or Turkish infused music, and it's kind of used at the relevant stages for one of the cats being a bit threatening or one of the cats being a bit silly, and it's used in the right places. And you kind of also, from the very beginning, you see that, well, not only do you get a bird's eye view of the city, you also get a kind of cat's eye view or cat's level view of the cats. So in other words, you're following around at that level and following through the streets or into little restaurants or into homes just behind them or just, beside them. And it's really well done. And although I was thinking with these particular shots, I mean, in this day and age, you can hold a camera low and it's not as big and bulky and heavy, and it's not like film cameras years ago. Maybe this was a film camera film shot on film, but either way, I mean, you could do these shots these days with certain equipment. You can get away with more. And also even the aerial shots, I mean, these days it's all probably drones used, but it still looks good. But it just shows you how these certain, perhaps years ago, you wouldn't be able to follow a cat around or many cats around at a certain level and a certain speed and a certain angle. But that said, there's also very good shots, the genuine camera held shots, up buildings and on across the water. I think it's a really nice film. It certainly had the audience sort of, I don't know if they were going so much, sort of a beloved way, but they were doing, sort of laughing a lot. There's a few kids in the audience as well as men and women, couples as well. But yeah, I just think it was a good film. It was something I wasn't really sure about. I'll just elaborate on what brought me here tonight. I knew this film was coming. I wasn't sure it was actually going to play at the Tri-School, but it makes sense. It's kind of a film the Tri-School would play. My friend had seen it recently. She's a massive cat lover. But I was in West Hampstead, which is only a few minutes walk away, and I suddenly realised the time, or I hadn't really thought about. Basically, when I looked at the Tri-School listings and I thought, when am I going to go? What's the most relevant day and the best deal? And I've kind of forgotten that today was the day, thinking yesterday was, and I didn't really want to see one of the Planet of the Apes films that's coming, but I wanted to catch this one. So I suddenly realised that just before 6 that this was that it was going to be on at 6 o'clock, and I know they have 10 minutes or maybe 15 minutes if you're lucky or unlucky, whatever, of trailers and information about other things. So I sprinted or half sprinted, which is probably not a great idea, from West Hampstead to here to Kilburn, even umming and ahhing at the time, thinking, shall I go, shall I not go, I'll go another day, and then ultimately I did. And you could say I sort of ran like a tiger, but I mean, I probably more trotted like a cat, that kind of half run that a cat has. I'd call it a trot, because it just seems like that when a cat's probably running but not a great speed. Maybe jogging, but I don't know if I was jogging. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure I probably missed something out of this mini review of KEDI and this podcast in the park, but I just wanted to do that because there's many things that kind of crossed my mind about the techniques in the film, the cats, and and it was also, there was some great close up. I mean, seeing it on the big screen again, this is actually, I suppose it's a red, it's what's it called, a YouTube Red film, so a bit it's probably going to be, you can pay to watch it on YouTube or on that, if you have that Red platform, a bit like Okja is on Netflix, but it was also in the cinema. I'm glad I saw this in the cinema, like I did with Okja, because there's certain shots as well. I mean, certain close-ups of the cats and their faces. That was amazing, seeing that on a big screen. It's just so pure and so crystal and so natural at the same time. You wouldn't get that feel watching it on a few inches of your tablet or your TV or your laptop. It was just there's certain shots of the cats and the city and boats and the food. You know, ironically, there's people talking about how much we love animals and that they're feeding fish to cats, and I'm sure many people are eating meat as well. But it's one of those awful conundrums or confusions in our society where we eat certain animals and not others. But I'm not going to go into that. Finally, I'll just mention, because I just suddenly remembered this was another thing I thought about as soon as it started, because you get a glimpse of Istanbul, daily life, and I like that. These documentaries are not just good for the subject matter, they're good for teaching you another part of the world, daily life, and it's really good. It educates people, even in the different religions, Quran, and there's a little ode, or there's a little a chat about how someone was using sort of the shapes of the cross years ago when they were a child, and told that's not that, you're not Christian, you don't use that, it's a Quran. That's quite funny. But yeah, and it reminded me of a film called Speed Sisters, which is about in Palestine there's these female racing drivers, and again it shows you what's really happening, or at least what their side of what's happening in Palestine and the Israel border and checkpoints. And although I haven't actually recorded a podcast at this point in time of that, I do plan to. I saw that film, and it kind of, you know, when you see a film that's about an interesting subject matter, but it's also set in another country or another city or another part of the world, it just makes you appreciate certain things, and also just you learn certain aspects of different cultures. I just think it gives you that warm feeling inside, and it's I think it's it's another good reason why these documentaries, they're often documentaries, obviously there's fiction films as well, but documentaries which show you how life is everywhere in the world. So that's it, really. I'm going to leave it at that, and that was the little podcast about KEDI, the film about the cat. That's the literal translation of cat in Turkish is KEDI. And so from this lovely 31st of July, Monday sort of evening in Kilburn Grange Park, I'm going to bid you farewell and speak to you in the next podcast if you so wish to listen to it. Okay, farewell.